you want to do a countdown?
5, 4, 3.
Good evening, everybody. The hour being after 6:30, I'd like to start the Tuesday, August 15th, School Building Committee meeting to order. Our first order of business is approval of the meeting minutes. Do we have any questions or comments about the meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll move.
Is that a motion for Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Gallivan. Let me poll the committee. Ms. Santiago Taylor. We'll get that.
I pass. Sorry, I pass. I wasn't here last time.
Okay, very good. Dr. Hahn?
Yes.
Jack Fisher?
Yes.
Jeff Fisher?
Abstain.
Jeff abstains. Jack Conroy? Jack Conroy?
I'm not in.
Okay. Dr. Goff?
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan?
Come on.
Ms. Gallivan?
Yes.
Dr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
I vote yes, and we'll get back to Mr. Conroy, your vote on the meeting minutes. All right.
Mr. Connor joined though.
All right, Mr. Connors.
I vote yes.
All right, very good, thank you. So just a note here, we do have an abutter. I'm going to insert him into the agenda between items 7 and 8, just to keep everybody informed. But our next order of business is the project status update. Kate?
Joel, you want to take this for the construction update?
Yes, thank you, Kate. Evening, everyone. So our August meeting update here. We've had another very good month on site, and things are moving along really smooth. We've got some aerial photos like last time to show you. So this shot we've kind of looked at now month to month of A building, which is kind of our starting point for all the different activities. So you got a good snapshot here of the progress we've made on the roof and on the building envelope in general. So if you look in the foreground of the photo, you can see the air vapor barrier on the building, the kind of shiny material there. And the mason has gotten started and really taken off doing the brickwork on the exterior. So they're plugging right along, and we expect they'll kind of pick up the pace here as they're getting used to the project and the site and so forth. So good start for them. All right, another shot here of the exterior. You can see kind of on B building, we've got the purple sheathing up on the building. So that's kind of the skin on top of the framing. And then behind him, when the framer puts up the sheathing, we've got that silver material you see on the end of A building. That's the air vapor barrier going up that goes right onto the sheathing. And then the mason follows behind with the exterior insulation and the brick. Moving right along there. Close up here on the left of the brickwork going on. You can see also in that picture that the windows are temped in. So on the first floor, we typically use plywood, and then the upper floors we use plastic sheeting. And that'll allow some of the activities to get going inside the building, like drywall, stuff that you got to keep really dry. We'll be able to get going on that this month, even before the windows go in by doing that. So there's a shot on the right of the first floor corridor in A building. You can see the interior framing is up. Some of the ductwork is in. The sprinkler pipe you can see is up near the ceiling. The fireproofing's all done in that area on the steel beams. You can see everything's nice and clean too. We've had the laborers working hard to keep the site clean and safe and get everything looking nice, ready for the next activities. In area B here, you can see the ductwork going up on the ceiling. And you can see the floor track for the start of the interior framing in B building there on the ground. So the floor track's installed ready to carry the rest of the interior framing. And then in D building there, we got a nice shot of the kitchen, what'll be the kitchen, so that you can see all the pipes sticking up out of the ground. So the plumber and the electrician have to precisely lay out where every single appliance is going to go in that kitchen, so that when those appliances show up next spring, every pipe's in the right place and every plug's in the right place to hook them up. So it's very intricate work. It's typically the last slab that we pour. We want to make sure all that stuff's perfect and coordinated with all the kitchen equipment. So good shot of that work in progress, getting ready to pour concrete on that floor.
During that press conference, during her statement and then comments to the media very late last night, saying she could say nothing about it, and that quote, I'm not an expert on food.
And then here we have a shot of kind of the site overall. So last week we were able to get all the paving done, just the binder course. So the paving goes down in 2 layers. So we have a binder course layer. So everything that's not in the footprint of the existing building got paved. So you can see the teacher parking lot there on the left, what'll be a future permanent parking lot. And that's kind of the permanent path of the driveway in the future. We are in the process of widening a few different areas to make it a little bit easier for back to school for the coming year. But that's a pretty good peek at what the final condition ends up looking like in terms of paving. And that works out well for us for the school year. This winter, we'll be able to plow on it, and it'll make it a lot easier to maintain the site for us this year. And we're also going to be done for the most part with all the vibratory rollers and the heavy site equipment moving around for a while now that we have this paving in, which is good. It's a good milestone for the project, and I'm sure, generally just a good thing for the site to be getting to that point. And as far as construction schedule, we're humming right along. Everything's still on target right now. The next big milestone for us is the windows coming in September. So we're right on track for that. We'll get the brick done, the brick gets washed down, and then the window guy will follow right behind. So we actually have one of the window installers. There's a couple different types of windows, a couple different types of installers. One is a structural window called curtain wall. Those installers will actually be on site starting next week, start putting in some clips for their systems, and the actual windows themselves will start landing probably the first week of September, and we'll start popping them in right away. And the building will continue to progress towards getting weather tight and serving all the interior fit out work that'll occur through the fall and the winter and next spring.
Joel,
Yeah.
quick question. Once the roof is completed at the end of August, is the building essentially weather tight except for in the case of a really bad storm?
Yeah, so right behind the roof going on, we'll connect all the roof drains, and that's kind of a big milestone. So you're directing the water exactly where you want to go instead of, finding openings in the roof, where the roof drains will be. So the roof drains will go right after. And then generally speaking, once we get the air vapor barrier on, the shiny foil material, that's kind of the milestone for weather tightness in our minds, and temping in the windows with the poly.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. As far as mechanical coordination, we are essentially, for all intents and purposes, done with the coordination process. So we got through D building since the last meeting. All that's submitted and in for review. We've got a couple different comments from engineers, minor stuff that we're sorting through, cleaning up in other parts of the building. And we're doing final checks on other systems too. So here you can see area D, that's the gym. We obviously have a lot of stuff that gets hung from the ceiling in the gym. The basketball hoops, and I think we have a divider curtain. So all that stuff will get plugged into the model too, or it has been plugged into the model. We make sure there are no clashes with anything else that's going to get attached in the building. So we're just kind of doing that final mop-up work right now, but the coordination process generally is done at this point, and was very efficient, and no major misses. We had a good mechanical design to start working with from Tap A, so all positive there too.
Any questions on the construction update? Hearing none, so just to touch base on meetings held since the last building committee meeting. We keep having our weekly OAC meetings. On Wednesdays, we have our weekly hot list calls with Fontaine, Vertex, and Tafe on Fridays. We continue to have de-scope meetings. We had demo and abatement, and resinous flooring since our last building committee meeting, and those de-scope meetings are wrapping up now. An MSBA remote site visit was on July 12th, and that went smoothly, pretty straightforward, no big concerns from the MSBA currently. Construction administration, TAPE continues to be on site weekly. Their consultants are coming out as needed. They'll start coming out even more frequently now that the systems are going in, specifically MEP related. And PSI has been on site as needed, our third party testing agency. Document control, submittal review is going pretty smoothly. We're about 80% complete. Requests for information, RFIs, continue to come in by Fontaine and are returned really quickly by TAPE. We have 171 to date. Architect supplemental instructions, ASIs, continue to be issued by TAPE. We've had 15 issued since our last building committee meeting, bringing us to 55 to date. We've had no CCDs issued since the last meeting, and we have 3 new proposed change orders that we'll review when we go over the PCO log. Matt, do you want to take the screen for the interiors update?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure.
So kind of an update. Everyone can hear me okay, right? Here's the kind of the presentation that most of you guys have seen before. We kind of went through this with the interiors committee and just kind of finalized the color selections. For the most part, nothing has really changed. A lot of the products that were submitted by Fontaine were what we had for the basis of design. So the same interior concepts and color tones kind of continue through the building with the neutral grays, the woods, and then the kind of the accent colors throughout the building. I think the last time we met, we had a different flooring pattern here where we had, I think we had the orange on one floor, the green on the other floor, and blue on the third floor. This has kind of been updated to give each of kind of the classroom neighborhoods their own individual color. So that's kind of the only real update that you see on the flooring patterns here for the vinyl composite tile. Same thing here, same accent colors, same floor colors. Everything that was submitted again was the basis of design, and we're going through now putting together an ASI for all of the paint colors. This is the cafeteria. Again, same flooring colors, same wood accents, same paint colors. So nothing here has really changed, and we're working right now on the final design graphics for the vinyl wall coverings in the back, which will be an upcoming submittal from Fontaine that we will have to review and get that artwork out to them for. Sorry, skipped ahead one. Again, this is looking at the classroom corridors. Again, we still have the same vinyl, not the vinyl colors, but the quartz flooring colors with the neutral, with the accents in each of the neighborhoods. The images here are the same ones that you've seen previously, so none of the colors or other selections here have really changed from what you've seen previously. And then finally, the only kind of change that we had from what was previously shown in the other meetings we had with you guys for the interiors was the carpet in the media center. From the discussions that we had with the interiors group, the pattern that we had wasn't really preferred, and they wanted some more colors that kind of tied back to the colors that we have elsewhere in the building. So we now kind of have the same blue kind of up front, but we're now tying more of the oranges and greens along with the neutral grays that we have elsewhere in the building into the media center. So this is the revised layout for the media center. The tans here kind of show where there's stacks and tables and other kind of equipment and furniture within the space that kind of breaks up the pattern throughout the space. And these are kind of a bunch of the miscellaneous colors and textures that we have. Again, the same accent colors for paint in the typical classrooms. We've got the same wood colors, counter colors. For the most part, I think everything on this slide is exactly what was shown in the previous presentation to you guys. And that's it for the update on the interiors. We've passed all this information along to Fontaine, and they are now passing this along to their subs, and it's being purchased for install in the building. Any comments or questions?
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Kate, number 5, potential change orders.
Yep. Let me share my screen again. So I just have the VE pages in here for reference. We are not talking about VE this month. And then in terms of the proposed change order log, so for reference, the green color indicates PCO is ready for review tonight. The yellow are PCOs under review, and then the white are open and not fully submitted yet, and we just have estimated values in it. So a reminder, we create a black line with the date of the last PCO meeting. So you've seen everything above this black line, and the bottom indicate the 3 new PCOs. The 3 new PCOs are proposed to be in change order number 7, in addition to this dishwasher credit, PCO number 28 that was discussed at the last meeting. So PCO 24, which was electrical revisions, the ERUs, this is something that came out of submittal package review. And this was on sketches that were issued in the submittal review process, pricing for revisions to the ERU breakers and feeder sizes in the amount of $2,041. There is a credit in PCO 31 for PVC fence finish credit. This is just updating the finish for the PVC fence that goes along the east property line. I'm sorry, the north property line. And then PCO 33 laundry color credits is a credit for $108. And this was came out of the color selection for the washer and dryer units in the new building. So change order number 7 is for a credit value of $17,305.
Any questions? All right, hearing none. So I guess, Kate, we are voting to approve PCOs 28, 24, 31, and 33. Am I correct?
Yes, 24, 28, 31, 33 for a credit value of $17,305.
Right. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Gallivan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Fisher. Let me pull the committee. Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Jack Conroy.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher. Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
Jack Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Dr. Hahn.
Yes.
Ms. Santiago Taylor.
Yes.
Did I miss anybody? Very good. It is a vote. Our next item is the vendor invoice packages. Again, to you, Kate.
Yep, so the invoice package is pretty standard. Our OPM invoice, the testing service invoice for PSI is included in it. TAP A's invoice for $131,000, and then Fontaine's rec number 14. So just flipping through, pretty standard. Fontaine's invoices for $4,733,055. So the total vendor invoice that we would like to have voted is $4,924,743.94 for the July invoice package.
Thanks, Kate. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve the vendor invoice package.
So moved.
Moved.
Motion from Ms. Gaositz. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second from Dr. Kenny, pardon me. Let me pull the committee. Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Conroy.
Yes.
Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
Jack Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Dr. Hahn.
Yes.
Ms. Santiago Taylor.
Yes.
And I vote yes, it is a vote. So at this point, everybody, this is our addition to the agenda. Mr. Walsh? Mr. Walsh, if you'd like to sit at the microphone, you can pose your question. Sure. So we have Mr. David Walsh from Washington Street has a question for us. I believe about the generator, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right, very good.
Again, good evening, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm Dave Walsh. I live at 587 Washington Street right here in Walpole. I'm one of many abutters to the new middle school project, and I'm happy to see the project's going very smoothly. So it seems it's my first time at one of your meetings. And very quickly, I have a front row seat to what's going on there. It's right out of my back window. So congratulations for a job well done, and it seems to be going rapidly. I do want to bring attention to the proposed generator. And my question is, I want to confirm whether or not the CAT C18 is still specified as the generator of choice to be put there. Does the engineering group in this committee know?
There should be a couple of people that could tell us, Joel or Matt. I don't know if you could you tell us about the generator, or is it a CAT C18?
Right.
So that would be like one of, probably 1,500 or so submittals on the project. So I could get that information for you very easily. I just don't have it in front of me right now.
We would have knowledge at this committee if it's been replaced since a year ago when it was first chosen. And my understanding is that's still the same generator that's planned.
So there hasn't been a change from what we identified earlier? Do we know?
So like I said, so basically the documents will give the contractor, the subcontractor, 3 options to choose from. And then that contractor will choose one of those, submit them for review and approval by the design team. And that's what we end up, that's through Massachusetts public procurement regulations. You have to give options. But I could very easily find out exactly what they bought pretty quickly for you.
That would be great. Do we know that this generator is going to be certified to Mass DEP ERP certification? Do we plan to apply for that? Because I know the town has not yet done that. It would seem that there are rules in place that say that we must comply with the Mass DEP regulations. And I haven't seen yet that an application put into the DEP.
Again, Joel or Matt? I don't know.
So I'm not familiar with that particular regulation that you're referencing. I don't know if that's something that would occur through as part of design or through our regular project permitting process with the DEP, which has taken place.
The Mass DEP requires of all towns and cities to have that ERP certification in place within 60 days after installation. And I'm sure hoping that the town of Walpole is going to comply with that. It means that we've done our due diligence and done the right things to assure that the air quality in the neighborhood remains intact. So it's an important part to have that qualified and put into position. It's a very large machine, and it's a diesel machine, and its exhaust fumes will smother the neighborhood in cancer-causing agents, and it could be very cause of an increase in health and a risk of death to abutters that live nearby. You might know that it's a giant machine. The C18 is very large. It has a 10-inch diameter smokestack, and it's only going to go up 10 feet above the 10-foot enclosure. So that puts it right about at my bedroom window and that of the new houses that are now on Garden Path Estates, which will be occupied by little babies in the very near future. So their health is at risk, and also elderly people like myself are going to be at risk for severe health changes. And of course, we want to avoid that. I'm suggesting that that generator, if it must be that large, actually that generator should only be placed on a mountaintop in a remote country somewhere, because it's so giant. It's 31 feet long, and it will just cover the neighborhood in toxic exhaust fumes when it's running, even for short periods of time. it only takes 7 minutes for a person to die if they're consuming or being exposed to carbon monoxide fumes. So I'm not quite sure that everybody that made the decision to put it where it is planned to be knew of the hazards that they're creating by doing this. So it seems important that we rethink the location of where that is and find a new place to put it. I've made some information packets for you, Mr. Breen, and for our engineering group, Mr. Conroy and Fisher, and any of the other committee members who want to read this input, and hopefully I can get on the agenda next month and we can talk about it further after some information is disseminated and understood.
That sounds fine to me. Does anybody have any follow-up questions or comments for Mr. Walsh?
I would just like to note that the generator we have on this project meets all the Mass DEP requirements. We are within the setbacks required by the Mass DEP. And we have an enclosure that goes around the generator to keep the sound down. And this generator is not going to be running all the time. It runs for about 20 minutes once a week, and if the power goes out in the building. So this is not something that's going to be on currently all the time, and we meet all of the Mass DEP requirements.
Again, it only takes 7 minutes for the wind to be blowing in the right direction. I understand it needs maintenance, and that 20-minute accumulates. It needs to be dispersed. There is no table or chart that tells you how far away is safe enough. It depends who you're talking to. A generator salesman will tell you one thing, an environmentalist will tell you something else. So it's altogether very important that we keep this in mind. And I understand that it's only going to be run during an emergency situation. But that's just the problem, is in an emergency, it's allowed to run for as long as the line power is out. So consider a case where the wind is still, we have an ice storm, and we're the last on Eversource's list to be re-hooked up to the branches that fell and took the wires out. In the meantime, that generator is going to run all the time. Until the power line is restored. So that might be a whole lot longer than the 7 minutes that it takes to kill somebody. So again, we need to rethink this. It's not going to be a good thing for any of the abutters. Also, we need to reconsider what we're powering. Is all of those kilowatts, the 600,000 kilowatts, or 600 kilowatts, is a lot of power. It's about an 800 horsepower machine, which is humongous. It can be sized down if we take away some of the silly requirements that seem to be in the sum of the total power requirements needed for the building. The facts that I've gathered are in this material, and I'm hoping that you and others will take a look at it, and we can reconsider this in another month's time.
Very good. Does anybody have any other follow-up comments?
Yeah, Mark, I do have one.
Yeah,
I just want to confirm, this has been something that's been ongoing for several months at this point. The team has looked at this. The team has responded to Mr. Walsh on multiple occasions. I know Kate has all of those. I probably have all of those too. He's reached out to the DEP. I don't believe they've been responsive to his inquiries. At this point, the team is comfortable as to where the generator is parked, as to where it's going, the fumes that's being presented, being given off of this. And there's nothing further, I don't believe, unless the team chimes in here and says that we need to do, or we should do, because we've looked at all of the options. The site is very tight, as you know. It's been laid out. We've looked at adding a few options here and there, and I've been told we can't fit it here, there, or anywhere else. So I don't think, I understand Mr. Walsh is before the committee, but there's no real options that we are available. When I say we, I say the team that we've hired through our OPM, our design team, the contractor itself. So that's kind of from our perspective, we've been dealing with this for probably 6 to 9 months at least.
I recognize that I've been a thorn in the side of some of the folks here in town. It's not my intention to be a pain in the neck, believe me. I'm just trying to find a solution to this. We don't want this machine in that location. The abutters are going, their health is going to be at risk. And if, Lord help us, if somebody dies as a result of that generator operating so near to our residential community, it's going to be hell to pay. We're not going to be able to withstand the litigation that's going to result as if somebody, if this results in a death from somebody. I understand that the concern about our committee here, that it's very difficult to find another place to put it. I've looked over the site plan and tried to find a place where there's no man's land and you can easily put it here. And there really doesn't seem to be one. But the place where it's at right now is very close to abutters, many abutters. It could be relocated at another location on the site that affects fewer abutters. So I'm hoping a consideration will be made to do that. I understand that it's late in the project now. The conduit is already in place to carry the wires into the transformer from where it's planned. If it's further away, there's another expense to the copper in the wires to make them longer. All of those I understand. But it doesn't prevent us from thinking about how to solve the problem in a better way. Is a rooftop option possible? Has anybody thought of that? I've been told by our Mr. Crowley in the building department that other fuels, like a natural gas one, would be fine for non-polluting, but the gas company would have to have such an enormous gas line that is a pipe in diameter to sustain enough energy to run that generator, that's not possible. So diesel is probably the right choice. We just have to find out where to put it. I'm hoping, I don't want to take any more of your time because I know you were hoping for a very short meeting. I don't mean to drag this out, but I need success at getting this moved. It's very important to me and all of the abutters. And I have a team of abutters who support me in this effort. I don't stand alone in doing this. We are taxpayers, and we expect the town to follow Mass DEP rules and regulations. And so far, we haven't. It seems that we've ignored in the generators, the many generators that are now in town, are not on the list of Mass DEP ERP approvals, which means that we're running blindly without certification to ERP requirements. And that's not a very good feather in our cap at all. I think we need to seriously look at what is going on with these generators around town. This is one of the biggest ones, will be the biggest ones. The one at Hollingsworth and Vose has been taken down. They had a megawatt unit there, and my understanding is it's no longer one of their EUs on site. So that will put this one pretty close to the top of the biggest ones around town. And I certainly don't want to put my head on a pillow that's right next to it. Enough said.
So, Mr. Walsh, we'll put this on the agenda for the next
Yes,
meeting.
please. I
See
hope you
where-
can.
See where it goes. Right.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and thank you, folks, for listening to me.
Okay, very good. Next item is just, nope, communications from the MSBA. So back to you again, Kate.
Yep, just really quick, the next MSBA quarterly change order review meeting is in October. We had our site visit as discussed in July, and then we will have our next site visit September 6th. And
Yeah, one
MSBA,
is from Mr. Conroy, the engineer, and also Jack Fisher, and one for you and for anybody else who's interested in reading it. And also let it be known to the committee that I can make more of those informational packets if they're interested in reading them.
The MSBA is working on drafting the PFA bid amendment. And then just a reminder of the dates for building committee meetings for the rest of the year. And our next meeting is September 19th at 6:30.
Thanks, Kate. Any last questions or comments from anybody? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Gallivan, do we have a second? Second. Second from Mr. Fisher, and we pull the committee. Mr. Barron.
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy.
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Conroy.
Yep.
Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
Jack Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Dr. Hahn.
Yes.
Ms. Santiago Taylor.
Yes.
And I vote yes, it is a vote. Good night, everybody.
Good night.